Continuing to look at another rule, or continue to look at laws of exponents, we have another rule we need to talk about, quotient to a power rule. First, I want to talk real quick about the product to a power rule. A product, member, means multiplication. Okay, so let's say we had something like A times B. We don't write the little dot there, but that means A times B to a power. So let's say I took A to B and I raised it to a power M. This rule says that even though it's not the distributive property, we kind of give this M to everything in parentheses. So this becomes A to the M times B to the mth. I know that sounds weird, but to give an example with numbers, let's say we had 5 times x raised to the second power. This 2 here doesn't just belong to the x because it's outside the parentheses. You have to give it to everything inside the parentheses. So 5 to the second power times x to the second power. And if you needed to put a little dot in there, you could. This same idea now we're going to apply to a quotient. And remember, a quotient is a division problem, the solution to a division problem. So quotient raised to a power is equal to each base in the quotient raised to that exponent. Really wordy. Focus on this equal here. Basically, if we have a division problem, a fraction it looks like, inside parentheses, we're raising this whole entire thing to the third power. That 3 has to go to the numerator, the x on top, and the denominator, the y on the bottom. So with numbers here, this 2/5 to the third has to be 2 to the third and 5 to the third. And if you work that out, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. So the y of it, I'm going to use this, oops, I need to do that. I'm going to use this example right here. So y. If I had 2/5 raised to the third power, remember what this 3 means? This is repeated multiplication. So what this means is we're going to have 2/5 times itself 3 times. Sorry again for my sloppiness as always. That's what that little 3 means. We're taking the base and multiplying itself 3 times. Now, if you just multiply across the top, 2 times 2 times 2, and across the bottom, we get 5 times 5 times 5. Well, that just becomes 2 to the third over 5 to the third, which again would be 8 over 125. And I'm not real concerned which way you write it right now. So the quotient to a power rule, again, you don't need to know the name, you need to know how to apply it, says that anytime you take a division problem, a fraction or something like this, and I think I can write that a little bit better. Maybe not, but I wouldn't try. And you raise it to a power, let's say to the 4th power. That means you have to raise the numerator to that power and the denominator. So 1 times itself 4 times is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. And if you need to, you could always write it out. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. Okay, so the quotient to a power rule just is kind of like this, oops, wrong way here, product to a power rule. If you have something inside parentheses and an exponent outside of parentheses, you need to make sure that exponent goes to everything inside the parentheses.